From America's heartland, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, celebrating junior bowling and elevating junior bowlers. Today, episode 153, the 2023 Kansas City Open October Points Tournament. 5 players have advanced to the TV finals. One of them will emerge as the champion in Division I today. And here they are. Bowling in the 5th position once again this month is Eli Clinklin of Lee Summit, Missouri. He'll meet the 4th qualifier and the runner-up last month, Nolan Nash of Greenwood, Missouri. The winner of that match will face the 3 seed, Braden Ebeling of Olathe, Kansas. That winner will face the 2 seed, Connor John of Wichita, Kansas. And the winner of that match will bowl for the title against our tournament leader, Rhett Ryman of Kansas City, Kansas, leading for the 2nd month in a row. That's our field today. One of these 5 talented players will be crowned the KCO champion in Division I today and will sign the coveted trophy pin on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. We're back at Gladstone Bowl in Gladstone, Missouri, a little ways north of the Missouri River from Kansas City, for the Kansas City Open October Points Tournament. Today you'll see the championship round in Division I, the group of players with averages of 200 and higher. Division I is the one division at the KCO that bowls scratch. Each division bowls 6 games of qualifying, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. This month, a total of 27 players went to the starting gate in Division I, and here's how their qualifying round went down. In the morning block of qualifying, Jesse Holtkamp set the pace with a strong 762 series. Jesse and his family just moved up to this area from Georgia, where Jesse was a regular on the Georgia Youth Bowlers Tour, or GYBT as we called it there. Jesse's a good friend with Prodigy Bowlers Tour's all-time winningest player, Hunter Moffitt. Close behind Jesse after the morning block was Braden Ebeling and Connor John. Jonas Tucker was also in the mix, and Rhett Ryman rounded out the top 5. Nolan Nash, PJ Dokalis, and Eli Clinklin were all on the outside looking in. But in the afternoon block, there was a huge shakeup. Rhett Ryman made the big move, jumping from 5th to 1st with a 763 of his own. Connor John reeled off a 683 to grab 2nd place. Braden Ebeling held his own to seize the 3 seed. Nolan Nash fired a 682 to claim the 4 spot. And there was a huge log jam with several players in contention for that final spot in the stepladder. Tashawn Clark, whose only appearance on Prodigy came here in Gladstone 1 year ago, made a bid to get into the stepladder again, but fell a little short. PJ Dokalis and Caden White were in the mix. Dylan Hunt put on a charge in the afternoon, but in the end it was Eli Clinklin who claimed the 5th spot, denying our newcomer from Georgia, Jesse Holtkamp, who finished as the alternate. Kudos to Connor John, who began his day with a cool little 297 right out of the gate, and Caden Ball, who had what I'm sure he would call a so-so day overall, but sandwiched between a bunch of 170 and 180 games was a sweet little 290 to make him feel a little better about the day. A lot of talent in this field, but only the top 5 get to advance. So it's time we get match 1 underway, featuring our 5 seed, Eli Clinklin, and our 4 seed, Nolan Nash. These two know each other well. They both bowl league at Summit Lanes in Lee Summit, Missouri. Couple of years difference in age. Nolan is 17, Eli is 15. Nolan, being the higher qualifier of the two, had the option, and he has elected to lead off, so he'll throw the first shot here on lane 15. And he gets that half pocket hit to go. Nolan with plenty of power, he can make those pins dance. Actually, both of these guys with their two-handed style can make those pins jitterbug right off the pin deck at the blink of an eye. But Eli's ball cuts through the pocket a little high, and he starts with a 4-pin. Eli started bowling when he was 8 years old. And he covers the single pin spare with ease. He's got a couple of tournament wins to his credit, including the Pepsi. And both of these young fellows have aspirations to one day bowl on the PBA Tour. Oh! Well, that's a fine how do you do. Can't throw it any better than that. The Stone 8. They say it's the one true tap in bowling. And I certainly won't argue the point. Ooh. He nearly runs by it. But a spare. And now once again Nolan Nash. He didn't start bowling until he was 12. Says his greatest accomplishment in the sport was shooting 300. It was a pretty big deal for him last season. Bowled it in another tournament. Gets that ball back to the pocket and mixes them up. That's what we're talking about when we say Nolan can make those pins dance. Watch this again. He's going to hit that half pocket. A lot of players wouldn't be able to carry this, but he's got power to burn. And that 5-pin just gets over to the left side of the rack and mixes things up over with the 7. He is being very deliberate today. And if that's the result you get, you just take all the time you need. So 3 frames, 3 strikes for Nolan Nash. Over the 4th arrow, out to about 8 at the tracers. Down they go. Well, Eli got that one a little too wide too early. And so it picked up, it read the friction on the outside of the lane early and hooked early. Bowling the house shot at the KCO. A little more friction on the outside of the lane. There's a buildup of oil in the middle. Oh my goodness. And even his spare ball hooks on that dry outside of the lane. That's why I like to see these kids shoot the 3-6-10 from the left side of the approach, so they can use the oil in the center of the lane. And it also cuts down on the angle to pick that 3-pin off the 6 like he just did. That open frame opens a 36-pin lead for Nolan. And Eli threw the nose, lucky he didn't leave a split that time. Now you see some action to our right on lanes 17 and 18. That's Division 2. We will recap how their stepladder plays out at the end of the show. Oh no. And he runs by the 4-pin. Back-to-back opens for Eli Clinklin, and that is uncharacteristic to say the least. He's a good spare shooter, but not showing it here. So Nolan, perfect through 3 frames, has a 47-pin lead. And look out if you give Nolan a free run at you. Oh, he gets the 4-9 to carry. That was a pinch high. Usually you see a shot that high in the pocket. With that many revs, it'll cut right through and leave that split, but Nolan gets away with it. Watch this. Somehow the 4 and 9 decide to cooperate. That 9 was especially late. But that's 4 in a row to start the match. Gave that one plenty of room. And that was high flush. You can't throw him any better than this. A little right of the 4th arrow this time. But perfect in the pocket. Eli with his back to the wall already. Finds the pocket, but the 10 won't go. Seems like it's always something when you're pressing. You know your opponent is on fire and you're just trying to get something to go. There's a spare at least to stop the bleeding. But Eli needs a string of strikes. And a hope that the Nolan Nash train will slow down a little. There you go. That's what Eli's been looking for. He threw plenty of those today in qualifying. Over about 21. That only got out to about 11. Kept that one in the oil a little longer, so it held and set beautifully in the pocket. This time, Nolan comes up a little short and leaves double wood, the 2-8. Double trouble. Well, this is exactly what Eli was needing. For Nolan to first not strike, and second to leave a difficult spare. With the 2-8, you just gotta hit it right on the face. Just like that. So that doesn't really slow the Nolan Nash train that much, Eli, I'm afraid to tell you, but you may have to do this all on your own. Eli's still a possible 223. Nolan at a 238 pace at the moment. High again. This time the 4-pin. But an easy spare. Nolan says his favorite pro bowler is Dick Allen. Covers the spare easily. But now Eli's got to get busy. He's got a strike working, so he can scratch and claw his way back into this with a couple more strikes. But once again, he just cut that one short. It just never got wide enough. Went right through the heart, and he's lucky he didn't leave a split. The 4-pin. covers it. Eli said he picked up the sport from watching television, watching the pros on TV. That's how I learned to bowl, too. Very different generation of players. Oh my goodness, that one cut all the way across the face of the head pin, and he gets a Brooklyn. He'll take it, but he's not proud of it. But with Nolan 64 pins out front, I think Eli can see the writing on the wall. Nolan looked like he didn't get that one as wide as some of the others. May have pulled it slightly, but it's set in the oil. I think he was turning around, acknowledging that, yeah, I got away with one that time. Watch this ball. That only gets out to about 12 at its widest point. But he's got so much power, so many revs. That ball still had enough to cut through, and now he just needs 9 pins here on this ball to shut out Eli in the 9th frame. And that'll do it. And this match was almost over before it got started. Nolan with a 5-bagger out of the gate, while Eli was getting a couple of opens in frames 3 and 4, and well, this match just got out of hand in a big hurry. Nolan covers the spare. He has a possible 247. Eli would like to finish strong, even if it doesn't matter at this point. Make him feel a little better anyway. And how many times have we seen this and talked about it? When the match is out of reach, suddenly the strikes start coming a little easier. That's more like what we've seen out of Eli all day. And that one right in the hole. He has a possible 203 with 2 more strikes in the 10th. We'll take another look at that first ball in the 10th. Over the 4th arrow, out to about 8. 10 back. Well, it's not every day you get to see a pocket 6-pin. I guess that was a little high, but not much. But a 192 is a respectable showing, just not enough against Nolan Nash on this day, or in this match. 3 strikes for 247. There's one. He's gesturing to somebody in the gallery. I think maybe his parents. I don't think he got that one quite as wide as he meant to. Different ball. Cut through sharply. And he leaves the 3, 6, 9, 10. Oh, he throws a backup at it. And might want to practice that shot a little more before he takes it into a tournament, but still a 233, and that is more than enough to send Nolan Nash into match 2. He'll face Braden Ebeling next. I know Eli Clinklin is disappointed by not giving Nolan a better match, but he opted to move up and bowl Division I this year, and he's made the stepladder finals in each of the first 2 tournaments of the season, so he really can't be too disappointed. Still, I know how frustrating it can be to give yourself a chance by qualifying for the championship round, and then you have trouble getting out of the gate with 2 open frames in the first half of the match while your opponent starts with a 5-bagger. But the time will come when the pins will fall Eli's way. But on this day, it's Nolan Nash, whose solid 233 game has sent him into match 2, where he'll now face a first-timer on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Braden Ebeling bowls with us at Olathe Lanes East, where I coach. He started bowling when he was 9 and is now staring at a golden opportunity to win his 6th youth bowling tournament. But to do it, he'll have to get past the reigning PBAA Player of the Year, Nolan Nash. Braden, one of our kids out at Olathe Lanes East, and the youngest player in our 5-player field today at just 14 years old. All right, Nolan will be leading off once again, so he'll finish last. And a can opener rips him apart. Now we'll get our first look at Braden Ebeling. Braden started bowling at the age of 9. His high game, a 279. Little double dribble action on the opening toss, but he gets away with it. Catches a light shaker. Loves me some light shakers. A little bouncy. But the head pin goes to the wall and does the damage. And they're all even. Braden puts the big loft on the ball. It doesn't delay the hook enough this time, as the ball cuts through sharply and leaves the 6-9-10. Go cross lane at this. Notice he takes his wrist support off to shoot at that. Doesn't want to hook it at that 6-9-10. That's a smart play. All right, let's see what Nolan has in store for us this match. Well, he says to Braden, if you can do that, I can do that. A little light shaker of his own. Watch this. It's going to hit very light in the pocket and send the head pin into the left wall. It'll come back and take out the 4, 7, and 8. All right, going for a turkey. And he buries it. It's another good one. Nolan says his mom is responsible for getting him started bowling. Bet she didn't throw any quite like this. Boy, he put some power behind that thing. And Braden gets one of his own. He's not backing down. Wraps that ball a little bit behind his back. I'd like to see it go straight back, straight through, but cannot argue with the results. Well, that one got away from him. A little wide of the mark, and up pops the devil, the 210. It can be made. Here's how you do it. Put the ball on the left side of the 2-pin and throw that 2-pin over into the 10. He'll give it a go. Too much 2-pin. So an open frame, and that hands Nolan Nash a 32-pin lead. Nolan is looking pretty locked in today. But really, when doesn't he look pretty locked in? We've seen him do this again and again on Prodigy in the last year or so. Slaps out the 10-pin like a boss. He has really taken his time today. Look at that 5-pin shred the 7. This is the ultimate power strike right here. He's only going to get about the half pocket. Watch the 5-pin race over and take out the 7. The swisher. Well, Braden turned away before that ball even got to the tracers. He knew it was wide. The 1-2-4. The good news is he didn't lose any count because he wasn't on a spare. The bad news is he wasn't on a spare. But he covers the spare. And now all he can do is just go to work. See if he can run off a little string of strikes and try to catch Nolan. Hope that Nolan hits a little bumpy patch. All right. Looked like a solid strike to me. Watch this. 5-step approach. Classic approach, really. Good balance at the finish. And that's 10 in the pit. And another swisher. And Nolan is in dead stroke. 6-bagger to start. He's not fooling around. Look at this position at the bottom. That ball is not just below his head. It's to the left of his head. That's even better. And look where his hand is. Fingers under the ball. He will lift straight up and through it. None of this going around the ball, trying to spin it. He just lifts from the back of the ball right through the ball. Man, it is such a good feeling. As soon as you let it go, you know it's 10. Watch this. He knows it's good already. That's when bowling is really fun. And there's another good one right there. Tell you what, except for that one split, Braden's bowled a pretty good game here. That is solid in the hole. I'm telling you, you can't throw it any better than that. Looked like he got that one a little wider than he meant to, but thank you, house shot. He got away with it. And it sure looked good going through the pins. That's beautiful. Oh, he's got all the shots. Yeah, he's playing a little sheepish there, but I tell you what, this might have been the best ball he'd thrown all match. Perfect balance. The ball deflects a little bit, but the messenger gets the 10. And that's 8 in a row to start. And a strike here in the 9th, and he will shut out Braden. See you later. Wow. Well, Braden, you didn't bowl bad, buddy. You just needed to be perfect. Tough to beat a guy when all he does is strike. Look at this. Braden's going to finish. Well, there's 4 in a row. He could finish with a 7-bagger and get shut out in the 9th frame. How crazy is that? Gets another one. Here's a 5-bagger. He's in good balance on every shot. Looks good coming through the ball. 2 more strikes for 238, and he won't even get a whiff. All right, he goes through the nose on that one. It's going to be a 227 with a spare on his fill ball. Heck, that would win a lot of matches on Prodigy. But not this one. Well, our attention turns to Nolan Nash, and can he do what's only been done once on Prodigy Bowlers Tour? A perfect game, 300. Oh, the same thing that stopped him in the previous match. A 2-pin. He had the 2-8 that time, but he wasn't going to go high. And that's a smart way to play it. And you've got as much power as Nolan has. You're more likely to carry the light shaker than you are a trip 4. And there's a spare. And he can fill it up here for a 279, which will be the highest game we've had bowled on Prodigy Bowlers Tour since we moved to Kansas City. Book 'em, Dano. 279. And a no-muss, no-fuss win over Braden Ebeling. But now Nolan Nash has bigger problems. Connor John is no joke, and he's the next opponent coming up. At first, I thought Braden Ebeling might have been in over his head taking on Nolan Nash. But no, Braden acquitted himself quite nicely and bowled a solid game. One mistake in the 4th frame was costly, but not decisive. His 227 was more than enough to win a lot of matches. But he just happened to have a tiger by the tail, as Nolan started with the front 9 strikes and reeled off a cool little 279. But Braden can hold his head high for bowling an excellent game. But when someone shoots a 279 at you, all you can really do most of the time is just tip your cap and congratulate them on a great game. So it's Nolan Nash who's won the first 2 matches in the stepladder, and things don't get any easier for him as he now faces Connor John. Connor is making his first appearance on Prodigy, but rest assured that these kids know quite well what Connor John can bring on the lanes. He recently bowled in a Heart of America Junior Classic in Excelsior Springs, Missouri, where he shot a pair of 300 games en route to finishing 2nd. He might need a 3rd one today if he wants to get past Nolan Nash this match. Nolan picks up where he left off. Another shredder to start this match. Well, in addition to those 2 300s he bowled last month at the HOA, Connor has 6 sanctioned 300s to his credit and a 789 as his high series. He is one of the top 2 or 3 youth bowlers in the Wichita area. Little fidgety getting set on the approach, but he won't go until he's ready. But when he's ready, you might see a whole lot of those. He throws a powerful bowling ball. Watch this. The ball, again, like Nolan, not only under his head, but even a little left of it. And look where his fingers are. Under the ball, he will lift straight up and through like Nolan does. Very powerful roll. This is how you throw a controlled hook with maximum power. Tell you what, there could be some sparks fly this match between these two. He got around that one a little more than he wanted to. Cuts through the nose, leaves the 3-6. Well, Connor lists as his favorite pro bowlers Anthony Simonson, Bill O'Neill, and Parker Bone III. 3 pretty good ones. And he covers the spare, although on the left side, probably not the way he had intended, but a spare is a spare is a spare. And now Nolan just wants to stay in stroke. And he does. Gets that light one to go. Again in the half pocket. We'll see this one from ground level. Watch the 5 pin as the ball drives through the pocket and tips the 5 over into the 4. That is power. A lot of people think power is how hard you throw the ball. That's not true. Power is how the ball penetrates through the pins. And when it goes through the pins like that, there's nothing those pins can do but run and get out of the way. This is the best I've ever seen Nolan bowl. And I've seen him bowl lights out. The one thing he has to watch out for is sometimes when he's bowling like this, then he loses it. Everybody does when they're on a roll like this. What happens after he loses it? Can he regain it, or is it just gone for the rest of the day? And that's what we're going to find out, I imagine. Can't imagine him bowling like this all the way to the end. Is that even possible? Maybe. We're going to find out. Connor just a little high with that one. Leaves the 4. Now I'm going to tell you something that you may have a hard time believing. Okay, so Connor John is 17 years old. He turns 18 in December. That's not the part that's hard to believe. What's hard to believe is he started bowling when he was 16, about a year ago. That's crazy. I think about a year after I started bowling, I was still trying to figure out which fingers to put in the ball. Well, no matter what happens to Connor John in the KCO today, he will take some comfort from the fact that when he gets back home to Wichita, his dad owns a candy store. So he can drown his sorrow in, well, whatever treats his heart desires. Right now, he'd just like to get a strike, get a little string going, just to let Nolan know he's here. That'll do. Five-step approach, pretty simple approach, very basic, not a lot of moving parts. This actually looks very much like a one-handed delivery, but with the power of two-handed. He's got it all going for him. And Nolan just keeps on keeping on. He's just showing no signs of letting up. Here's a split screen of his footwork and his whole game. That's how it's done, boys and girls. Oh, it looked like he fell a little off balance. I couldn't believe that. Nolan's never off balance at the line. Watch this one again. He's going to step off to the right this time. Tell you what, though, there's never a doubt. All right, Connor John, you are going to have to go to the whip to keep up with that boy. He is not going to throw you a lifeline, I don't believe. That time Connor fell a little off balance, and I'm about as surprised to see that as I was to see Nolan. Connor's usually just solid as a rock at the line. But he nearly had a split, broke it up, and leaves just the 10. And he covers the 10, no problem. Well, there is one big difference between these two. Nolan says the only sport he plays is the one you're watching, bowling. Connor, on the other hand, plays basketball, baseball, soccer, and flag football. Just for fun, but he plays them. A good all-around athlete. But this is the sport he takes seriously. And look at that, just plants one in the pocket. And the pins just explode. Love his slide. He's actually got his foot pointed a little bit to the left. Kind of reminds me a bit of Nelson Burton Jr. in his prime. Boom. Well, I tell you what, we haven't had a player in dead stroke like this on Prodigy since Jesse the Body Hamadi set the scoring record at the George Washington Open in 2020. That was our last episode of Prodigy before we suspended production due to the pandemic. Nolan is just a striking madman today. There's another one. Well, he started the last game with the front 9. He's got 7 in a row this time. Not much doubt about that one. Connor's bowled a pretty solid game, and he's 61 pins behind. But still has a chance for a 249, and you never know. But he knows he has no margin for error now. He's got to take it off the sheet. Stone 9. Well, you can only do so much. The pins have to cooperate. Nolan must have been whispering sweet nothings in their ears. They're listening to him. Connor covers the 9-pin, but strike spare is not going to get it done. Now the best he can do is 229. And Nolan is going along at a cool little 260 pace. Even with all of Connor's fidgeting and slowing down the pace of the match, doesn't seem to be affecting Nolan in the least. Oh boy. Through the nose, the 3-6-10, and well, I think Connor knows he's beat. Here's how you make the 3-6-10. Put the ball right on the 3 and the 6. And I'm not sure why, but that 6-pin looks like it's a little farther from the 3-pin than it ought to be. That could make it a little dicey, but cover both pins with the ball, it shouldn't matter. And that's how you do it right there. Leave no doubt. Well, how deep can Nolan go? There's the front 8. And he seems surprisingly calm and relaxed. Perfect balance. Everything in ideal position. And all he needs here in the 9th frame is 3 pins on his first ball to shut out Connor. He's won each of his first 2 matches in the 9th frame. Oh, that one got away from him, and again it's the 2-pin. And like in the first match, it's the 2-8 that stops him. Let's put this ball right on the face of the 2-pin. That'll work. So we go through the motions of finishing out the match, but we know the outcome. It's going to be a rematch of last month's final at the KCO in Division 1. Nolan Nash, once again, facing tournament leader Rhett Ryman. And Connor John will be a spectator. Well, that's more like what we expected to see this match out of Connor John. You wonder sometimes when you see your opponent just striking at will, there's a tendency sometimes to press a little. And the pins know when you're squeezing it. They don't like it. That looked like it was going to go a little high, but it sort of just stopped. before it went high. It started to hook high, and then it just flattened out at the end and set perfectly. Yep. How many times have we talked about this? When the pressure's off, the strikes come a whole lot easier. Nothing to it. Possible 216. There it is. Well, Connor congratulates Nolan. He's just got to tip his cap. I'm sure he's aware of what Nolan was doing while he was over warming up earlier. When you're the player coming on, you're always aware of what your opponent is doing in the match prior. And whenever I saw my opponent putting a big number up like Nolan did last match at 279, I would just say to myself, I'm glad he got that out of his system before I came on to bowl. But Nolan's going to be in the 260s this game. What do you do against a guy like that? You just better bring your A game, your A+ game. That is a 265 on the heels of a 279, and that's pretty juicy. So the player we call Replay is going to get a rematch. Nolan Nash lost to Rhett Ryman for the title last month at the KCO, and they're going to go at it again right after this. Just like the players who came before him, Connor John didn't bowl badly to get beat. He just ran into a buzzsaw. It's easy to see why Connor John is one of the best youth bowlers in the Wichita area. But on this particular day, he caught Nolan Nash while Nolan was in dead stroke. And if there's one thing we've learned about Nolan in the last year, it's that when he's hot, he's hot. And when he's on a roll, he's almost impossible to beat. But if Connor makes the trip up from Wichita again, I'm sure we'll see him on Prodigy once again. But right now, it's Replay who gets a rematch. We call him Replay because Nolan Nash gets so many replays on Prodigy. And last month, it came down to these two, Nolan and Rhett Ryman. So Nolan is getting a rematch. Rhett prevailed in September to capture the first Division I title of the new season at the KCO. And Nolan would love nothing more than to turn the tables. But this is 2 months in a row that Rhett has been the tournament leader. So he's obviously been bowling better than anyone so far this season at the KCO. He'll need to keep it up if Nolan keeps bowling like he's been bowling so far in the championship round. This is a dream pairing and should provide some real fireworks. Both of these players list bowling as their one and only sport, and they both take it very seriously. Rhett's been bowling since he was 8. His first league came when he was 10. Nolan actually started a little later. He started when he was 12. Crunch berries. That's how you like to start any match. Solid in the pocket. 10 in the pit. That's how Nolan has started each and every match in the stepladder finals thus far. And he gets another light shaker to go. And he acted like he didn't really like that one. Oh, I see what happened. The pin actually got out in front of the rake. So they'll have to send a pin chaser down to get that. We'll watch that strike from ground level. And that pin just gets out in front of the rake, and it will have to be removed before they can throw another shot. So here is one of the employees here at Gladstone Bowl. Slide that pin through the gutter and into the pit. Oh, look out. And he gets a round of applause from at least one person.
No, you're not.
All right. Hopefully that little disturbance didn't upset Nolan's momentum. Oh, yikes. Wow. In the pocket, but the dreaded 7-10 split. Just throw hard at one of them and hope for a miracle. Oh! Whoa! We've never seen the 7-10 made on Prodigy, but we almost did right there. Watch this. This is like the Mark Roth conversion. It goes back into the corner, and here it comes, up on the back edge of the pin deck, and it just falls off before it gets the 7. Man, that was close. But a huge opening for Rhett. but he comes up just fractionally high. Leaves the 4-pin, doesn't take advantage of the open. But he leaves an easy spare. Rhett has 3 300s to his credit and a 793. Nolan shot 804 at a KCO last season, and it wasn't even the high series that day. That was the day Paul Stegall shot 822 and Nolan shot 804 in Division I to get things going in the morning. That's another solid strike on the left lane. Rhett going with the big loft this match. Of course, they only run the lanes once in the morning at the KCO. We bowl on the burn the rest of the day, so that's a way to help delay the hook. Sometimes you catch it on the upswing, you can actually put more stuff on it, which is often not what you're trying to achieve, but Rhett had it under control there. And a ripper by Nolan to shake off that 710. Let Rhett know he's back. Just to the right of the 4th arrow, out to about 10. And in the half pocket, and those pins had no chance. He pulled up and out of that one before the ball was halfway down the lane. He knew it was no good. Another split. This one decidedly more makeable than the 710. The 310 baby split. Put the ball on the right side of the 3, let it deflect into the 10. We got too much of the 3, and that's another open frame. And as I mentioned earlier, we've seen this out of Nolan before, where he just burns white hot, and then when it's gone, it's gone. It happened to him at the Prodigy TOC, where he looked like he was never going to miss in qualifying, and then his last game of qualifying, he kind of fell off the ledge and then had nothing in the stepladder. So he's going to have to regroup somehow. Oh, but now Rhett has figured out the pair and has struck on both lanes, and he may be a very tough out as Nolan looks to figure out the left lane. Watch Rhett's shot again. Notice his left knee is a little straighter than I would like to see it, but watch his golden release straight up the back and side of the ball. There's no twisting, no flipping of the ball, just lifts straight through it. And a powerful roll. That's how it's done. Boy, a strike here would really put a world of hurt on Nolan. But no. Rhett gets it out into the dry a little too quickly. The ball reads the friction early, hooks early, and cuts through the heart of the pins. Leaves the 3-6-10. We saw Connor John make this in the last match. Let's see if Rhett can handle it as well. No problem. So, back to the drawing board for Nolan. He's got this right lane. He's struck on it both times he's been up this match. Can he keep it? Oh, it crept just a little high. That was close. Now he's trailing by 31 pins, and there's no telling. I wouldn't bet on Rhett backing up. Nolan better figure something out quick. If he wants to be in the mix at the end. Well, he's going to a different ball. He hasn't thrown that red ball. He tried it on his fill ball in an earlier match, but it hooked through the nose, and he hasn't gone back to it until now. He's had to make a little bit of an adjustment on the approach. We'll see what happens. This is risky. Oh, but he found the right combination. Now it's just a matter of, can he find the right lane with it as well? Or will he even go back to the dark ball for the right lane? Who knows? Well, Rhett's in the driver's seat. He would love to put a double on the board right now and leave Nolan behind in a cloud of dust. He gets the light shaker. We'll look at it again. Watch the head pin go to the left wall. Come back and get the 4, 5, and 7. This shot is huge right now. He can extend his lead to 41. But no. He throws it out the window. It doesn't get back, and now he's got the 2, 4, 10. This is makeable, but it's about a 5-to-1 shot. That's how you do it. Slide the 2 over into the 10. The ball will get the 4. He will definitely go for it. He went for it boldly, but he missed the 2 pin. So with that open frame, his lead is down to just 17 pins, and Nolan has a strike working. Now, what's he going to do on the right lane? Which ball is he going to throw on the right lane? Did he pick up the red ball? Yes, he did. And he gets the messenger to go. Oh boy. Game on now. Pretty close to the same line he was playing earlier. He's just moved in a little bit. That pin that's standing in the left gutter, that is down. If it's off the pin deck, it is down. He can take the lead for the first time in the match with a strike here in the 8th. And down they go. And this game suddenly takes on a whole different complexion as Nolan Nash has the upper hand now, and If he strikes out, there's nothing Rhett can do. If Nolan strikes out, he shoots 226. If Rhett Ryman strikes out, he shoots 223. So now the onus is on Rhett Ryman to get busy and start striking. Put a little pressure on Nolan. Oh man, he almost had the 4-9. Something got the 9 and almost knocked it into the 4, but he will have the single pin spare to shoot. And all of a sudden, this match has gotten very interesting. Spare here and then 4 strikes would give Rhett a 213. Nolan can shoot 226 if he goes off the sheet. So this is anybody's match. But it has certainly gone back and forth. Once again, it cuts sharply through the nose. Could have been worse. He leaves just the 3-pin, but he'd sure like to have strikes in the 8th and 9th. Covers the 3. But now he has given Nolan Nash a free run at him. Couple more strikes and good count. Nolan can put this one in the win column. Oh, he loved that one. And that ball change he made in the 6th frame, now looking huge. I believe that's a Ruby IQ. Here's a look at his reaction to it. You'd think there's just a little competitiveness running through the veins of this kid. I guarantee you Rhett's the same way. He needs 17 in the 10th to put this match away. And with a strike on his first ball, he doesn't even need that. Watch this. Well, he looked lost after the 4th frame. And now he just needs 4 pins. And this will be one of the great comebacks we've seen on Prodigy. That's it. Nolan Nash has won the 2023 Kansas City Open October Points Tournament in Division I. Even with 2 open frames in the championship match and falling way behind in the match, he comes back strong, shoots 215, and Rhett can't catch him. How about that? We almost saw 7-10 converted too. That was pretty fun. Yep. Pressure's off, strikes start coming. I've seen this movie before. Tell you what, Rhett bowled really well all day, too. He always does. And he hasn't bowled a bad match. That one mistake in the 7th where he left the 2-4-10 is going to cost him. Leaves the 3-6-9. And he makes it to finish with 192. Nolan Nash has run the stepladder. He's our winner today. And we'll get him to sign the coveted trophy pin when we return after this. About 4 frames into the championship match, Nolan Nash looked like he was hopelessly lost and just trying to salvage a good showing to finish second. But after making a ball change in the 6th frame, Nolan struck in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th and was able to put the match out of reach from Rhett. But kudos to Rhett Ryman for starting the year with a win in September and posting back-to-back tournaments in which he was the #1 seed going into the stepladder finals. We're liable to see these two battle it out a few more times this season at the KCO. But today was Nolan Nash's day. He bowled games of 233, 279, 265 for a cool little 777 for his first 3 stepladder games, and then a 215 in the title match to cap off a 4-game stepladder series of 992. Not a Prodigy record, but it was the highest 4-game series we've had on Prodigy since moving to Kansas City. And Nolan's 279 was the highest game we've seen bowled on Prodigy since Big Logan Mathis shot 300 on April 13th, 2019. I'd say it's time we visit with our winner. There he is, the Division I champion at the October points tournament of the KCO. And you got a little sweet revenge on Rhett Ryman today.
Well, you know, Rhett is an amazing bowler, and I give all credit to Rhett for being exactly who he is. That last game, I made a really good ball change. I just felt like God was telling me to just switch it and move it, because I did get switched up on my lanes. I was on 15 the whole time, and then I got pushed over. So I think I had to switch something up, and it was right.
It was the right choice at the right time, and now you get to write your name on the coveted trophy pin for the first time this season.
Oh yeah, and I'm going with
is it
red.
good? Oh, he's going red this time.
Yep, that was the ball I was throwing. It was red.
Nice move, very cool. Very, very good.
Boom.
Well, a couple of near misses with 300s today. You had the front 9 one game, front 8 the next, and you almost made the 7-10 today too.
That was pretty crazy.
There's a reason we call you replay. Today we call you rematch, because it was a rematch with Rhett, but I think we really have to call you champion.
Well, just one tournament don't mean nothing. Gotta get him at the next one.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
As I mentioned during the show today, the bowlers to our right on lanes 17 and 18 were the contestants in Division II. Here's how their stepladder played out. In the opening match, the 4-seed, Tanner Haig, defeated Alexandria Beals 212 to 159. Then Tanner continued his winning ways, downing Austin Wallace Fish 200 to 158. Then in match 3, Tanner Haig caught fire, defeating the 2-seed Brody Hurla 273 to 143. And in the championship match, Tanner made it a clean sweep, running the stepladder all the way to the title, defeating tournament leader Seth Fletcher in a close one, 215 to 207. On our last episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, you saw the Division III stepladder finals where Colton Boob captured the title over Nick Robbins. And we told you about how Caden Darling-Neer took top honors in Division IV and Michael Vansell won in Division V. Remember, starting this season, all the KCO winners in all the divisions are invited to bowl in the season-ending Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions in June. That'll be the Sunday after Father's Day. We'll talk more about that as the season unfolds. Next up on the KCO calendar is the 2023 November Points Tournament at Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas. We'll be there to cover Division I and one other division. If you'd be interested in entering an upcoming Kansas City Open, visit their website at www.kansascityopen.com. If you like what we do on Prodigy, leave a thumbs up on the video and smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to be notified whenever a new video gets posted. And be sure to drop a comment down below, just not spoilers. All these things help us grow the channel. You know, 3/4 of you watch the show but don't subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second and costs you nothing. Just hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to take that next step to support the creative work that goes into producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and it takes about 35 to 40 hours to produce each and every episode of the show, become a Prodigy patron. For just $5 a month, you'll get early access to all our full-length episodes. And for just $10 a month, you'll not only get early access to the shows, but you'll also see your name in lights in the closing credits as an executive producer. You know, just like the bigwigs in Hollywood. Visit www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and follow the prompts to become a patron. If you want to keep up with all things Prodigy and even get the behind-the-scenes poop and stay in touch with yours truly, join the Prodigy Facebook group. From any page on Facebook, type Prodigy Bowlers Tour into the search bar and hit enter. That'll take you to a page where you can submit a request to join the group. It's free, but you've got to answer the screening questions to be approved. Otherwise, we'll assume you're a spam bot, and nobody wants those in the group. So, that's it for our annual pilgrimage to Gladstone Bowl in Gladstone, Missouri. Thanks to Jamie Hayes and her staff for their hospitality and for all they do for youth bowling. So until our next edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, this is Coach Randy reminding you to stay behind the foul line, keep tripping those fours and kicking out the corner pins, and I'll talk to you next time from Lawrence, Kansas. Until then, stay safe and go get your bowl on.